Oh, we live. We live. What's going on, everybody? It's Wednesday, May 13th, 2026. And as you can see in my background, I'm a little different background this week. And for the next few weeks, I will be in different backgrounds because I'm on the road. I usually don't share with people, what I do because I don't want people to know how I'm moving because I move in different spaces, different places. But this is one of the opportunities that I have to contract with an organization, and you see the name of the organization on the hat called Jam on it. We do youth basketball tournaments, and we do basketball tournaments on a very high level. So if you're from out west, so anywhere in that area, you've heard of the name Jam on it basketball. And so we are having tournaments coming up this week and the next few weeks, and I'll be on the road for the next actually few months. But want to keep these house calls going because I think the viewmanship that I'm getting is getting a lot of good responses. And so, like this month, I'm changing them to if you had 24 hours, right? So this week's episode is titled "If You Had 24 Hours with No Fear, What Would You Do?" Now, there's a few people who are going to listen to this and say, well, I don't have any fear anyway. I don't fear nobody. I don't fear anything. It's not the fact that you don't fear someone or somebody, but fear does occupy your body. It's just the way we were created. Before our prefrontal cortex was designed, our bodies were in two modes: fight or flight. So if you ran, that means you feared what was coming your way. So we want to say it's innately in your body, but the fact is that we know in life sometimes we've been designed with certain things that we say, I don't have any fear. But let's talk about there's a version that exists in you right now that most people will never see. And if you are honest, there are moments where even you don't allow that version to fully show up. Not because it doesn't exist, but because something is holding it back. Now let's name that something. That something is fear. Not the dramatic kind, like I was saying, you see in the movies, not the loud, obvious kind that makes you stop in your tracks, but the quiet, calculated, intellectual fear that shows up in your everyday decisions. You know, a lot of people I'm talking to, you have a job, you have responsibilities, you have children, you have relationships, you have, you're driving, shopping, gas, different things like that. You have to make decisions now in your life that sometime you ask, is fear a part of that decision? And so these are some of the things that fear sort of puts itself in the mix of your everyday life, like the fear that tells you to wait no longer. Right? I'm not going to wait any longer. I'm going to do it. Some people are saying, I hate corporate America. I need to get out of it, but I don't have enough money saved, and I don't know if people are going to purchase my product because I haven't really see what's happening right there. That's fear of failure. Right? There's another one, the fear that tells you to prepare just a little bit more. Yeah, so if you're going through this that says, just wait a little while longer, maybe in 6 months, let's see what the economy is going to do. The economy never drove entrepreneurs from doing what they needed to do, right? It was the fact that you believed in yourself enough to overcome the fear. Let's talk about the third thing, the fear that tells you to make sure everything is lined up before you move. That's what we're talking about. You want to go get a new car, but you better make sure everything's lined up and that you're not utilizing your income tax money to purchase a new car, knowing that that income tax money is just a one-shot deal. It's not going to be there every week for you to be able to make the payments. But see, fear is telling you, you're trying to compete with somebody, so you want to get a new car, but the fear of making that bill payment every month is much larger than the decision to purchase the car. Now imagine this. For the next 24 hours, fear is removed from your system completely. You don't have to manage it. You don't have to fight it. You don't have to think about it. It simply doesn't exist. What would you do differently? Who would you call that you haven't called that you really, really want to call? You just say, I just need to talk to this person. I need to clear the air with this person. I need to get some stuff off my chest with this person. Who would you call? But you don't want the response of that person. You don't want the rejection of that person. That's fear. You don't want the person to tell you something that in your imaginary mind you believe doesn't exist. What would you say that you've been holding back? Maybe somebody at your job is really disrespectful, condescending, and you just say, listen, if I say something, I'm going to lose my job. But you know that in the next 24 hours, you can say whatever you want to, and it's not going to affect your outcome. Would you say something that you've been holding back? What would you start that you've been delaying? Like I said, you might have a craft. You might be out there doing something. You might be a great baker. You might be a great orator. You might be a great songwriter. You might be a great just person who can sit and listen, have that empathetic ear that people need to hear, but you are afraid to just to start it. And what would you walk away from that you've been tolerating? Right? What would you walk away from that you've been tolerating? Right? So, Dr. Rory T. Evans has to lay this diagnosis on you before we move any further. What comes to your mind in the moment when the moment that is not random? It is direction. What happens? What comes to your mind in that moment, right? And what you don't do in your current life that you would do in the moment reveals exactly what is controlling you. What would you do different? Okay? And the other fear is not an emotion, it's a system. It shapes your behaviors, your decisions, your timing, and your willingness to step into uncertainty. Just like I said, people don't want to address fear because they don't want to address situations because the things that happen right away. Let me get that out of my mouth, guys. The things that happen right away is people start to, remember back in the day they had the devil on one side and the angel on the other side. Your mind starts playing tricks with you and telling you, you're not ready. Nobody's going to do this. Nobody's going to support you. People would laugh at you. People would do all of this. And that's the mind that you got to stop believing. That's the fearful mind. So when you say, I don't fear anybody, you fear yourself most of the time. Most of the time when you're fearing something, you're fearing yourself. You're fearing your own thoughts. You're fearing your own behaviors. You're fearing your own emotions. You're out of alignment, and the fear takes over in your conversations. And most people don't realize how much their life is being influenced by it because it doesn't feel like fear. It feels like logic. Because you've been operating in this space so long, it feels like logic, right? So let's talk about a few discussion points, and I want to get through these real quick, and then I want to get out of here. Discussion point number 1 is fear diagnosed as disguised, and diagnosed also, but disguised as logic. Fear randomly announces itself. It presents itself as reasoning and convinces you that waiting is smart, that hesitation is wise, and that the delay is necessary. But what it's actually doing is protecting you from the discomfort at the expense of growth. That's fear disguised as logic. Discussion point number 2, the decisions you already know. There's a decision sitting in your life right now that you already have identified. You may not have acted on it, but you have thought about it more than once. This is not a coincidence. This is awareness. When you think about it, every time you think about it, guess what? And you reflect on what I'm saying. You play it back. Every time you think about it, boom, something pops up in your head and starts telling you that everything is not going to be right. Don't do that. You don't want rejection. You don't want this. You don't want that. You're not smart enough. You didn't put enough work in. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. All of you can't do. Those are the things that we're talking about, that the decision you already know. And discussion point 3 is control versus growth. Fear thrives in controlled environments. Growth requires uncertainty. You cannot expand your life without staying inside the boundaries that you feel safe on. You cannot expand your life. You can't grow things. You can't pad your resume. You wouldn't want to pad it. You can't add things to your resume. You can't add things to your legacy because you're staying within a bubble that makes you feel comfortable, right? So what is the reflection questions I want you to ponder on this week as you are going through this listening of the fear 24 hours? If you had 24 hours with no fear, what would you do?
What is one thing that you would do immediately if fear was removed? See, these are things for you to write down and ask yourself. This is what I do. This is what I do. I set you up for you to ask your questions yourself before you come and see me. Number two, what has fear been telling you about all your decisions? Good, bad, or indifferent? What has fear been telling you about them? And analyze what fear is telling you about the good decisions, the bad decisions, or the indifferent decisions. And see how fear of your thoughts reacts differently to your growth. Number three, and how long have you been listening to it? That's the one that you want to answer right there. How long have you been listening to it? Because if you've been listening a long time, you believe it's logic. Now, see, fear disguises logic. But I want you to know right now you're listening to House Calls with your man, Dr. Rory T. Edwards. Please, if you feel that some of the things that we're sharing, we can help you in your journey, please send us an email at rorytedwardsgroup.info@gmail.com. Once again, that's rorytedwardsgroup.info@gmail.com. Or you can send us a request on our website at www.rorytedwards.com. Because this is not about pushing yourself harder, it's about pushing yourself farther. This is about understanding how your internal system is designed and restructuring it in the way that allows you to move with clarity instead of hesitation. If you're ready for that level of work, this is where you need to reach out and take your next step. The Rory T. Edwards Group can help you. We can definitely help you. I have some wonderful individuals from different walks of life, different age levels, but all very highly qualified and certified in their lane. So, this is my closing call to action for you. You don't need fear to disappear, because fear can save your life, right? It don't need it to disappear, because like I said, prior to the prefrontal cortex being designed, all we did was either fight or flight. So sometimes you need to fear the outcome. So you don't need fear to disappear. You need to stop allowing it on deciding the outcome for you. Once again, this is we call to action. You don't need fear to disappear. You need it to stop allowing how you decide the outcome. Right? Because the life you say you want is not waiting on time. It's waiting on a decision. And you already know what that decision is. So if you had 24 hours with no fear, what would you do? I thank you all for listening again. And we're on the road. You can see in the back. I even make my beds in the hotel. Excuse me, I ain't no motel. I'm in a hotel. High level one too. But anyway, I'm just saying that, trying to just let you know that I couldn't change this background. But yeah, I make my bed in the hotels. But anyway, we thank you all, and we hope that you continue to follow us and continue to support what we're doing. And we're here to support you. We're here to support you. Once again, if you need to reach out to us, please send us an email at rorytedwards.info, rorytedwardsgroup.info@gmail.com, or you may send us an email or on our website at www.rorytedwards.com. So until we meet again, until we talk, you all be well, stay aligned. Don't let fear disappear, but don't let it make the decisions that decide your outcome for you. You all be well. Ashe.